rates of a whole series of chronic diseases are going up in American children: asthma, autism, attention deficit disorder, certain birth defects, cancer, obesity, and diabetes. Through our research, we have linked many of these trends to toxic exposures in the environment: air pollution to asthma, various chemicals and radiation to cancer, other chemicals to birth defects, lead and pesticides, and bisphenol A and phthalates and brominated flame retardants to neurodevelopmental disorders. There's a whole series of chronic diseases in children where we now have credible evidence that environmental factors, toxic chemicals, play a part in causation. Air pollution is a pervasive cause of asthma and respiratory problems, and even cardiovascular and mental health problems in children.
The environment is the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the food we eat. All of it together is perhaps the biggest driver of all the major diseases that are the biggest challenges to our society. So we know that the frequency of autism is increasing. The latest reports suggest that it's somewhere around 1 in 70 US children now. We know there's a genetic predisposition, but there's an environmental trigger as well. That is a really good example of how the rapidly changing environment is affecting children's health.
So the Children's Environmental Health Center does two basic things. We do research, and we do what I call evidence-based advocacy. The research we do is focused on discovering the environmental causes of disease in children. The advocacy is focused on turning our research into actionable programs for reducing children's exposures to toxic chemicals and other exposures in the environment that cause disease.
It's an honor to be part of the work that this institution does every day to ensure children and families live the healthiest and happiest lives they can.
The lab is actually a first step, so we're trying to be at the forefront of understanding and measuring the environment, where we can actually innovate and create new ways to measure the environment. And one of the things that we're trying to do is actually reconstruct what happened in the past. To understand why someone developed autism or asthma, you have to go way back. You have to go back to what things that happened during pregnancy and very, very early childhood. Our lab is actually designed to make those kind of measurements. And the lab is called the Lautenberg Laboratory for Environmental Health Sciences.
Time and time again, we have pursued the path of turning our research into actionable plans to reduce children's exposure to these toxic chemicals.
Advocacy is extremely important, particularly environmental health. You can't change your genes, but you can change your environment. We are extremely grateful for all the support that Greening Our Children has given the laboratory. It would have been impossible to build a laboratory without them, and we're really excited about the future of this partnership with Greening Our Children as we start to understand how environment impacts our children's health.
Greening Our Children began as an event and grew into a community. When the founding members first learned about this issue from Dr. Landergan, they knew they had to support his work. And since then, Greening Our Children has educated so many families by translating the science into actions that we can take every day. It's this translation that's so critical because we're all learning together. Advocacy is essential to the mission, both at an individual level and a policy level. As consumers, we have tremendous power, and by making informed choices, we can change the market. But we need a reliable source to guide us, which is why Greening Our Children educates consumers, communities, and legislators, and advocates for policies of transparency and safety so that we know what we're getting and can make smart choices.
Advocacy is not just reaching out to legislators. Advocacy is also something that happens at the level of consumers and parents. So what's exciting to me about what Greening Our Children is doing in advocacy is that we're taking the groundbreaking research that's happening at CEHC and we're translating it to information that parents and consumers can use. So when they go into a store, they're aware of what they're purchasing to bring into their homes for their families. That's also advocacy, the power that parents and consumers have to make change at a market level.
And in your own home, you're the CEO. You have absolute control over what comes into your home. So shop wisely, buy organic, minimize or eliminate the use of pesticides.
While I was at a Greening Our Children event, I met a vendor who sold water filtration systems at the expo, and I purchased one for my home.
The simple changes people can make are swap out your toxic chemicals for green cleaning supplies, buy organic whenever possible, take off your shoes when you enter the house, open your windows whenever you can, swap out your Tupperware so that you're using glass, remove as much plastic from your daily life as you can.
We support this work because by advancing the research, shaping public policy, and informing consumer behavior, We're forging a path to a healthier future, not only for our own children, but for all those yet to come.
What's great about Greening Our Children is that they're always giving back. They're not only asking you to help fund programs, but also giving back, giving information, giving solutions, and that's what makes this organization different than anyone else.
We all share this passion to make the world a safer and healthier place for future generations, and I believe as long as we keep wanting it, we're going to make it happen.
We want to make a difference in the lives of our children.
Our kids deserve their birthright, and their birthright is health and happiness.
Our children deserve a safe and healthy world.
Our children deserve a healthy, clean world.